Bam, what's it like? You start a game without Jimmy. You see Jay Rich go out in the second period. You see Terry go out in the third. You keep fighting the good fight. What was the emotions of the afternoon like for the team out there and you?
Man, stay solid. And, guys go out, ups and downs, stuff happens, but at the end of the day, we have to stay solid and work towards the goal, which is win the game.
I know you obviously have a relationship with Jalen, but what was your view of kind of that play with him and Duncan and what happened there in the fourth quarter?
I mean, I feel like I agree with Duncan. He felt like it was a dirty play. I'm not going against my teammate. That's what it is. And, I stand behind my teammates 100%.
Damn, there aren't many people who've had more role changes this season than Haywood. But when guys go down, he had to step up into some fourth quarter minutes tonight. What did you get out of him outside of just 2 points? But what kind of impact did you get out of him?
Man, I mean, the stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Obviously guarding some of the top players in our league, being able to space the floor, run the floor, and you're doing this off of how many shots you get? 4. So 23 minutes and you get 4 shots, and he's still impacting winning by doing the little things. I mean, yeah, a lot of people might not notice him, but we notice him because that's H's role for us right now. Do the little things, get stops, run, and and be that guy we need to get stops on, their premier players.
Bam, you guys had 14 offensive rebounds, and I feel like you guys had more second chance points than them, but still it seemed like there was a lot of opportunities that were sort of just not made. Do you feel like that was sort of one of the deciding points of the games towards the end, or is there something else there?
Nah. I just feel like down the stretch we missed some shots we should have made, and they made some shots. It's a game of basketball, and we will focus on film and get back to the drawing board.
Tyler, what's it like? You start a game shorthanded, obviously, Jimmy, because of his family reasons, and then to see Josh go out in the second quarter, Terry go out there in the second half. What's it like going through all of that in the course of a very challenging game also?
Yeah, it's definitely, emotion, a little bit of emotions to it. I think between the emotions of the game and the emotions of, 3 of our, key rotation guys go out is obviously not easy, but, the talk was to just rally around each other and keep our spirits, up and try to rally together to get that win. But I thought it was a good game. Obviously we lost, but there's some takeaways on both sides that we can take away going forward.
Obviously, sometimes shots just aren't going to go in like you've talked about before, but what was working for you in the second half after that first half?
I just felt a little bit more in rhythm. Also just looking to attack and being more decisive, with my movements. Just feeling them out in the first half and then being able to, attack in the second half.
Obviously, now that you're heading into a 6-game road trip now, and obviously the team has turned a little bit of a corner despite the loss today, what's sort of the mindset heading into, again, another brutal road trip?
Right now we're just locked in on these next 2, Milwaukee and Philly before the break. Those are 2 really important games for us, and we want to, go into that with pretty much a playoff mindset and kind of get those 2 games is hopefully as fast as we can, get those wins and get ready for the break, and then we'll go from there.
Tyler, you see the way Duncan gets into it a little bit with Jalen, and it seems like you kind of play well in the chaos of a game when a game kind of goes in that direction. Just how much do you enjoy the rivalry part of this and just when games kind of go that way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a competitor, so the more guys start jawing back and forth and going at each other, that brings a higher level out of me and a lot of my teammates as well.
Thank you. You cut it to 2 and then Tyler 3. What did you think about the offensive execution on the stretch before that and then after that point?
Yeah, more than anything, you get down the stretch, you just want to make plays, find that grit, I thought our group showed a tremendous amount of grit in that second half. There was a lot of things that weren't necessarily going our way, including the injuries, and then down 10, to really claw and fight back and get this game on the ropes. I think, it was a credit to how hard our guys were playing. And then, sometimes it ends up being make or miss. Down the stretch, they had, basically Drew Holiday, hounding Tyler there and trying to figure out like how they were going to match up. Either for a few possessions they were putting Holiday on Bam, then they switched and put him on Tyler. I think the execution was very good. In that fourth quarter, the last 6 minutes, it was coherent. It was to our strengths, and he lived with the results. From there. Probably if there's one thing that the head coach could point to, unfortunately, was those second chance opportunities throughout the course of the game. You're going to deal with a lot of different things that are really tough to guard, and I thought we managed that pretty well. A lot of really good multiple efforts, but I looked at it after the game. It said they only had 6 offensive rebounds, but then 19 second chance points off of those. I'm not a math guy, but it seems like they would hit a 3 on every single one of those and an and one or whatever it may be. But those probably end up being the deciding factors, in the game. The big muscle areas that, the other areas of big muscle, I thought we did a pretty good job. But on the glass, those perimeter rebounds or those longer rebounds, about 10, 12 feet, we didn't do a great job on that.
I know we don't know the injuries yet, but guys like Josh and Terry, who were sort of coming on and pushing, Josh coming around a little, hustle plays, Terry the same thing, playing with a big motor. As a coach and someone who's around them all the time, to see those type of situations with those kind of guys, what's it like for you in the moment, and also just being on the bench then without them the rest of the game?
Yeah, you more than anything just feel for those guys. They're competitors. They want to be out there. They're trending in a much better direction. Josh was just starting to get healthy and really starting to get his legs under him and really starting to make an impact on both ends of the floor for us. Terry was getting a lot more comfortable, but you still want to see a fortitude that's being developed over the course of the season, and that's what I'm noticing now. The last 2 weeks, we're starting to develop some grit and competing more to our identity, and that thing that goes across our jersey tonight, that has to be the standard, and we're competing at a much higher level, regardless of any kind of excuse you could make.
Now, you've seen him for a few games. How has Porzingis kind of changed the look and feel of this matchup? And how do you evaluate when he's getting a shorter guy on him, but he's also just kind of shooting over the top of those guys, which he can do against a lot?
It gives him a different look of somebody that's, he's not 6'9", so if you switch or do some different things, he can shoot it, right over the top. And, with him, it's always been about health because he's always been a very impactful player. His nickname, whatever that, that's for a reason. There's just not a lot of guys, that size, that shooting ability, and so forth. But even with that said, I thought we managed that, well enough, and the efforts we were making were good enough. Probably the most collapsing plays were the second chance opportunity plays, and now that gave them a little bit more life, or put a little bit more pressure on us at the other end, where we felt like we had to to score.
Just the situation with Duncan in the fourth quarter and the back and forth, I guess, just how much do you still embody the rivalry part of this, where even with the guys that weren't part of it and there's a new rivalry building, like how much do you embody that part of the game?
You just want to be hopeful and grateful enough that you can be a part of something like this. And we say it all the time that new players come in, you're inheriting, this feeling, that we have for them, and they probably feel a certain way about us. And you would never want to just go through an entire career and not have that. So, I know our guys embrace that. It's good for competition. It's good for the league, and it's good for the players. And our guys love that. We just ended up on the wrong side of the score tonight. All right, thank you.